As you guys know, on the channel, I like to dive into the story of Call of Duty, summarizing video games or breaking down theories as to hidden details within the story. But this video is a little bit different because we're going to be looking at the next Call of Duty game. Call of Duty Black Ops Gulf War is said to be the game coming out this year in 2024. And with it, it obviously takes place within the Black Ops universe. As of right now, all we've heard is leaks, and they're slowly coming out over the past weeks, which I'll have more videos on. But I wanted to put my hat in the ring and give my prediction as to who the main character of the game is actually going to be, because I think we have actually a lot more information, and I'd be willing to guess that my prediction is right. And my track record with these is pretty good. So through this video, I'm going to be going over what potential characters could actually be in the game, how they could fit in, and by the end, give you my answer as to who the main character will be within Call of Duty Black Ops Gulf War. But before I do, let me first tell you about today's video sponsor. One of my least favorite things in the world is editing, especially when you've recorded a whole bunch, having to go through and get those little clips for a video or just to put out there. That is why today's video is sponsored by Outplayed. It is completely free. It is the first link down in the description. And if you don't know what it is, it automatically takes your best clips from in-game, whether you're playing Apex Legends, Call of Duty, Warzone, or many other games, and puts them into the app. When you go in there, you can edit them right in there and upload them directly to whatever you're using, whether that's YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, whatever it may be. You can post them directly from there. It is super easy to use and saves you a ton of time, which is incredibly important to me. So if you want to check it out, as I mentioned, completely free, first link down in the description. And thank you, Outplayed, for sponsoring the video. So to start things out, the game that is set to come out within 2024 is said to be Call of Duty Black Ops Gulf War. And knowing the Gulf War, it predominantly took place in the year 1990 and 1991. So if we have a look at our Call of Duty timeline, I made an entire video on this if you want to check it out. But essentially in Black Ops 2, we get the story of Frank Woods and Alex Mason. Their story starts out in the year 1986, but by the very end of it, it actually takes place on December 20th, 1989. This is going to become important. Now, at this time, what is going on is they have captured Manuel Noriega, and they've given them information, and they think that they have Raul Menendez captured and essentially dead to rights. As Frank Woods holds a sniper rifle looking at him, he is told to take the shot by Jason Hudson. What we don't know is that they have captured Alex Mason's son, David Mason, and essentially Hudson's being controlled into telling him that that is who is under the mask. But as we find out, that is not who is under the mask. The person under that mask is none other than Alex Mason. So from here, our characters are captured. They are brought into a room, and what ends up happening is Raul Menendez ends up killing Jason Hudson. So we know as of the year 1989, Jason Hudson is out of the picture, so he cannot be in Black Ops Gulf War. The other person that we know about here is Alex Mason. So we shot him, and at this point, we thought we killed Alex Mason. And in fact, we thought he was dead up until the year 2025. After Raul Menendez had been dealt with and everything dealing with that, Alex Mason actually comes out of the woodwork and reunites with Frank Woods and his son, David Mason. So we know that during this time, Alex Mason was alive. We just don't know where he was. He separated himself from his child and his best friend, Frank Woods. So technically, we could get some sort of information in regards to where Alex Mason was during this time. Was he captured by Raul Menendez? Was he working undercover to protect his son? We don't know where he was. So technically, he could be in the game, but at the same time, we don't know where he was. Then we have Frank Woods. As far as Woods go, what we know is that his best friend was just seemingly shot and killed by him. He is going to be going through some hardships at this point, but he is still alive and seemingly responsible for the death of Alex Mason. He would also feel responsible for taking care of David. So we could see some sort of aspect of Frank Woods helping David Mason grow up and turn into a man. Speaking of which, let's talk about David Mason. So as you mentioned, his father is seemingly dead, but what you need to know about him is he was born in Fairbanks, Alaska in the year 1979, which means in the years 1990 and 1991, he is not old enough to be a part of the military. However, what we do know based off of his bio is he actually was able to join the Navy SEALs in the year 1996, which would just be 5 years after kind of the end of the Gulf War. However, after this time, there were many, many battles going on in the Middle East, which means if the game continues past the year 1991 and into the mid 90s, we could see some Middle East battles with David Mason being a part of the Navy SEALs as a young officer, with maybe him working underneath Frank Woods, going under his wing and kind of learning his ways as to what goes on behind the scenes there within the CIA, so on and so forth, which could be a really interesting angle on the Mason story. No longer Alex Mason is in the picture, but rather his son David as a very, very young and brand new, fresh green soldier. The next character that we have is Russell Adler, a new fan favorite character from Black Ops Cold War. I am willing to bet that 100% Russell Adler will be in Black Ops Gulf War. However, I do not think he is going to be the main character. Throughout Black Ops Cold War, we saw him kind of be the leader of this group of CIA soldiers working behind the scenes in clandestine operations. And by the very end, he is taken by Stitch and brainwashed. However, he's able to break through. However, the number sequence is now in his head, and I'm willing to bet that that is going to play a main part within the story of Black Ops Gulf War. But again, I don't think he's going to be the main character. Here's why. So this part comes from leaks, and this is cool because it doesn't only give us the main character, but also another character who is going to be in the game as well. Essentially, a few months ago, we started to see leaks of voice actors who are going to be playing characters within Black Ops Gulf War. The first one is from an article by IGN. They essentially state that someone by the name of Luke Charles Statford has come out on Facebook and said that he will be one of the main characters within the next game. He remembers playing Black Ops 2, and in fact, we got a name of a character by the name of Ratcliffe. Now, at first, I thought this was some sort of code name. However, if we have a look, this is Luke Charles Statford. He's been in several different movies. The biggest one that you probably heard of is Megalodon Rising, but the name Ratcliffe was actually a real-life person within the Gulf War. He's a part of the British Army, specifically the SAS, and he was a part of the Falkland Wars, the Gulf War, and a major soldier at that time. And in fact, he worked all the way up until the late 90s, at which the time of the year 1997, he became a major, which would be the same time period that David Mason would be joining the battle. And I don't think that's a coincidence whatsoever, but he has several distinguished awards. He was a big time soldier, and I think he is going to be one of the main characters. In fact, this is what he looks like in real life. So you can kind of picture what he will look like in Black Ops Gulf War, but he is not the lead character of Gulf War. We have that information too. Again, a few months ago, we got some information on this actor by the name of Michael Silverblatt, and he has been in some big time movies, shows, including Hawkeye being one of his most recent, and several different films and TV shows. But where it gets interesting is when we get into his animated and voiceover work. So he's been a part of Yu-Gi-Oh series, but if we look at the top here, he is a part of a confidential video game. He is the lead. He is the confidential main character, and who he is working for is someone by the name of the Formosa Group. Now, if we go to the Formosa Group on Instagram, they put out a post when Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 came out, and it says, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 is here. Formosa Interactive provided the VO recording, editorial, and performance capture support on the game. In other words, they are the studio that does all the voice actor, motion capture, and things like that for Call of Duty, and Michael Silverblatt just so happens to be working for them as the lead character for the next Call of Duty game. So we know who's playing him, but who is he playing? This is your answer.
Special Agent Ryan Jackson, Office of the Inspector General, case number 290184, January 8th, 1990. I've spent the better part of my career at the agency studying the lives of these men.
The timeline lines up so well on this that I simply can't be wrong. There's a character by the name of Ryan Jackson. He's a special agent for the CIA, and he was in charge of inspecting Frank Woods, Alex Mason, Jason Hudson, all of these characters. He knows everything about them, and his story picks up in January of 1990, just like 15 days after the Panama invasion that we saw before, where Alex Mason is shot by Frank Woods. He is hired to essentially go in and find out all this information on these clandestine operations. So he knows everything going on behind the scenes, and he just so happens to be the main character of Black Ops Declassified, which him telling these stories takes place in the 1990s, but nothing ever happens after that until, of course, the Gulf War, which the game has not yet happen. So we could have all of these characters, Ryan Jackson be our main character working alongside Russell Adler, and then we could have Ratcliffe be the SAS portion of the battle during the Gulf War. All of these characters could work together, making one big group led by Russell Adler, who would not be the lead character, but be the one that you were working for, kind of the leader of the group. So I truly believe that the main character of Black Ops Gulf War will be none other than Ryan Jackson. I think we're going to see Frank Woods in there, Russell Adler, and this new character by the name of Ratcliffe. So again, this is just a prediction. I can't confirm this. However, that timeline lines up so well. I am guessing what is going to happen is we're going to have Ryan Jackson introduced as the main character, have Ratcliffe as the SAS operative, Adler there as the leader, Frank Woods makes some cameos, trying to train David Mason and be a father figure to him. And then later on, maybe in the post-game, post-campaign scenes, we see David Mason come in as a Navy SEAL, and then he would be a part of kind of the multiplayer and Warzone and that kind of thing after the fact. It just lines up. The timeline works so well that I don't see it happening any other way than this. But if you disagree, if you agree, let me know down in the comments. Again, just a prediction, but I think it's a pretty good one. So if you like these type of videos, like the story videos, make sure you subscribe, turn notifications on. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until next time, peace.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're